On a calm Friday morning, my wife shared news that left me shaken. She calmly explained that she planned to go out after work that evening and might not return until the following day. Her tone was composed, almost as though she had rehearsed her words. It was clear that she had carefully considered her message. Despite reassuring me of her love, her distant gaze revealed a mix of emotions. For the first time, I found myself facing a situation I had only read about in novels or heard through rumors: the possibility of marital betrayal. I stood frozen as she justified her decision. She insisted that I was strong enough to handle it, spoke about the fleeting nature of life, and admitted regret over not exploring her independence before our marriage. Questioning the concept of monogamy, she criticized society's strict expectations about love and relationships. Her arguments grew more confident as she spoke. Using a series of familiar phrases, she claimed autonomy over her choices and expressed her desire to experience life's pleasures without the need for deep emotional ties or financial concerns. She emphasized her confidence, intelligence, financial independence, and physical health. She also pointed out that I had never expressed dissatisfaction with our life together. When she finished, anger surged within me. Despite the temptation to lash out, I remembered the consequences of uncontrolled anger and obsession, as depicted in the works of Herman Melville and other literature. Drawing on this wisdom, I chose not to react impulsively. When she leaned in for a goodbye kiss, I calmly declined. "I'd rather not," I said. My response left her stunned, her mouth agape in disbelief. Instead of engaging in a heated argument about loyalty, morality, or the vows we had taken, I focused on maintaining my composure. I knew that true strength often lies in restraint and staying calm when emotions run high. At that moment, I felt an unexpected sense of peace in my response. By simply saying, "I'd rather not," I firmly but subtly asserted my will. Her reaction quickly turned into a barrage of accusations. She questioned my respect for her needs and accused me of harboring immature grudges. But through it all, I remained steady. My self-control became my guiding principle, and in that pivotal moment, I understood the power of quiet resolve. She issued an ultimatum. I must either accept her decision or prepare to part ways. Despite the gravity of her words, I remained composed, my response steady and unwavering. "I'd rather not." I noticed a shift in her demeanor. Her confidence began to waver, and subtle hints of doubt crept into her expression. Despite her attempts to appear resolute, her uncertainty was evident. I refrained from yelling, crying, or begging. My calmness seemed to unsettle her. Eventually, her approach shifted to negotiation. She offered compromises, assuring me of her love and promising more reasonable behavior during her upcoming adventures. Still, I stood my ground. Each time she pleaded or reasoned, my answer remained consistent. "I'd rather not." That simple phrase carried surprising power. With every repetition, my resolve strengthened and her composure weakened. Her demeanor transformed yet again. This time, she adopted a more calculated, legalistic stance, a reflection of her ambition to become a lawyer. I remembered the dedication she had shown while preparing for the bar exam. But now, she attempted to weaponize her legal knowledge against me, disregarding the prenuptial agreement we had carefully crafted and notarized. She issued threats, warning that in the event of a divorce, she would claim my home, my savings, and my trust fund. She declared her intention to remain in the house, with all expenses covered by me. Once more, my response was steady and concise. "I'd rather not." That night, she did not return. In her absence, I began rediscovering myself. Saturday passed quietly, and I immersed myself in familiar routines, finding solace in simplicity. When she finally returned late Sunday evening, her appearance reflected the turmoil she had faced. Her hair was a tangled mess, her clothes crumpled, and her eyes held a desperate, panicked look. She dropped her bag near the patio, where I stood grilling a perfectly seared ribeye. The air was thick with the savory aroma of steak and the unspoken tension between us. I guess you'd rather not kiss me now, she muttered, her voice carrying a mix of sarcasm and vulnerability. I said nothing, focusing instead on basting the steak with marinade and turning the corn. The rhythmic motions of grilling brought me an unexpected sense of calm. "Could you cook one for me, please?" she asked softly, her tone almost pleading. Without looking up, I replied evenly, "I'd rather not." "Well, I should have expected that," she said bitterly. "Are you ever going to say something other than "I'd rather not"? It's getting tiresome." As she stood there, waiting for a reaction, I finally turned toward her. Before I could speak, she interrupted me as I turned to respond. She cut me off. "No, just don't talk about it. I'm tired, okay? It's better if you don't say anything. That's the punishment, isn't it?" Her voice was bitter, tinged with resignation. She exhaled deeply, her shoulders sagging as if bracing for a battle she wasn't sure she could win. Realizing the night would be long, she added, "We need to talk about this. You can't just stay silent forever. Are you really going to file for divorce? Is that it?" Her voice cracked, and the pain in her eyes was unmistakable. She began recounting our history, piecing together the fragments of our shared past. 2 years of dating in college, 3 years during my time in law school, and 2 years as husband and wife. "Are you really going to throw all of that away because of 2 weekends?" she asked, her tone wavering. Pausing to collect herself, she confessed, "I needed this. It's been eating at me for years. I thought I'd buried those feelings when I married you, but I didn't. I love you. I've always loved you, but I couldn't stop wondering about other men. How they compare. How it would feel to be desired in a completely different way. I wanted to feel like the girl on the cover of a romance novel. The one swept off her feet by a rugged cowboy or a lord of the manor. I know it's selfish, but I couldn't help myself. You're an incredible husband, and I don't deserve you. I'm so sorry." Tears streamed down her face as she pleaded, "Please don't just stand there. Say something." I finished plating the steak and corn, placing it carefully on a toasted bun, and topping it with a slice of grilled peach. Finally, I looked at her. "I'd rather not," I said softly. "No, don't say that. Don't be so cold," she cried. "Yell at me, threaten me, hit me if you have to, but don't ignore me. I know I was wrong, and I'll do anything to fix this. Please, take me back. I'd rather not," I repeated, my voice firm. Things escalated after that. No, I didn't grill a steak for her, though for a brief moment I considered burning one just to make a point. In the days that followed, the tension between us grew unbearable. She tried to talk, to make amends, but every plea, every question, was met with the same polite yet resolute response. "I'd rather not." Once, I told her, "I love you," but even as I said it, I wasn't sure I meant it anymore. Beyond those 3 words, I said nothing. At first, she refused to give up. She tried tirelessly to win me back, but I avoided her, traveling for work, staying out late, answering her with only a nod or a shake of my head. I slept in a different room, ate at different times, and carved out a life parallel to hers. Eventually, she stopped trying. The fight drained out of her. One day, she packed her belongings and left, moving somewhere far away to start over. We never officially divorced, but her absence felt final. The house grew quieter, the silence heavier. Sometimes, I think about filing for divorce, about ending things once and for all. But for now, as I sit in the stillness of my own choices, I remind myself, I'd rather not.